parent's worst nightmare is to lose their child. But the hardest thing is to find that child. April 30th, 2020, I was on patrol. I was on day shift. I was with my partner. We had just finished a family disturbance. Rankin and 45. I remember getting multiple phone calls from who was now my ex-wife, asking me if I heard from our daughter, Darlene. I said no. But prior to actually talking to her, I received several phone calls, several text messages, and a voicemail. And I said, what is wrong? Okay, let me answer this. So we're parked up at the Exxon on Rankin, near Rankin and 45. And I call her. She says, have you heard from Darlene? I said, no. She's probably home sleeping. She said, well, we haven't been able to reach her. Would you go check on her? My daughter lived at 301 West Little York, the Concord Apartments. 45 in Little York, it's a 5-minute drive the way I drive from Rankin and 45 to Little York and 45. I pull up to her apartment and I park right in front of her window. And I was in my patrol unit, and I was on duty. And I said, you know what, let me wake this girl up. Let her call her mom. I'm going to go back to work. As I get out of my car, I see one of Darlene's friends, Melissa, crying hysterically. And I asked her what was wrong. She said, I'm trying to reach Darlene and she's not answering the phone. So, well, how long have you been trying? For an hour, and I've been knocking on the door with no answer. As I was pulling up into the parking area, I saw her car, one of her cars. I said, this girl's just sleeping. She's probably got worked late last night and overslept. I'm going to wake her up, knock on the door, and have her call her mom. Then Melissa told me what she told me. If you've never had what we call a sinking feeling in your stomach where you just got kicked by a mule and you feel that real intense pain, I knew something was wrong.
And you're on duty at this point, right?
I was on duty. I go to the leasing office and I ask the leasing manager to unsecure the door. And I said, if she didn't, I would take it off the hinges and I would pay for it later. And she said, no. We've been trying to reach Darlene for 2 days and we haven't been able to talk to her. I know something's wrong. Maintenance guy comes in, takes the lock off, and I tell everybody to step back. I don't know why, and I still don't really realize why, but I turned on my body camera. So it caught everything from the time I opened the door, the 3 steps that I took. I looked to the right and I saw my daughter on her bathroom floor. I knew she was gone. I closed the door. I tell the manager to call 911. I need EMS and I need police. I secured the door to make sure nobody contaminated, nobody entered behind me. I drew my gun and I cleared her whole apartment. It was a one bedroom, single story. As I entered through the kitchen into the bedroom, her door was open. I saw the weapon under the bed. I cleared the doorway, went in. I was expecting to see a second body, and I didn't. Her first closet was open, the door was open, and it was in shambles. I go to the second closet, open it, everything was okay there. Close that door, and I try to open the bathroom door that leads from her bedroom into the one bathroom. It was secured, it was locked. And as I told you before, as a firefighter and as EMS, I've seen death before. And there's a certain odor to death. And I knew she was gone. I reholstered my weapon. I pulled my latex gloves out of my pocket, which I always carry. You can see me putting on the gloves. And I very carefully went to the body and checked the carotid for a pulse, and I knew I wasn't going to find one. The blood was already pooled. It was already dried. Rigor mortis had already set in, but I still went through the process anyway. And unfortunately, to this day, right now, I can tell you what that scene looked like. Her striped pants, her blouse, the pool of blood by her head, the shell casings under her armpits, the brain matter, and the hole in the mirror. All her makeup on the counter where she was sitting. And took my gloves off, put them back in my pocket. I went to the door and pushed everybody away. And I stood by the door. I made 2 phone calls. One was to my supervisor, and I couldn't reach him. I called our central dispatch and spoke to a very good friend of mine, Elsie, excuse me. But I didn't know I was talking to her at the time. Answered all of her questions. Suspect name, how long she had been down, address, suspect name, her name. But I never remembered that I had already called it out on the radio. So I already had people coming to help me. The first ones there were the paramedics, and what I will say about HFD, they were amazing. They sent, not only did they send a supervisor, they sent an ambulance with paramedics on it and a fire truck with other EMS personnel and firefighters on it. On my body cam, you can see me talking to them, telling them exactly what they're going to see, what to expect. And while they went in to confirm her, the rest of them surrounded me in a circle and didn't let anybody near me. And they kept me going until the first Harris County unit arrived. 42 Frank 10, Manny Martinez, and his trainee, his PPD. Manny goes through the firefighters. He grabs me by my vest, by my shirt, pulls me to his Tahoe, and I drew a blank after that. I don't remember anything or anyone after Manny got me to his Tahoe. And I will say this. I'm sure you and your family may have experienced this with the tragedy of your dad. When I tell you the whole command staff was there, they were all there. I learned that we had 2 homicide units, 2 squads. That's 12 investigators. We had Harris County cars from Little York and 45 all the way down to, I don't even remember the name of the street, not Fulton, put it to you this way. It was 2 miles away from the apartment complex. And you saw nothing but Harris County cars. All my supervisors that were there, deputies were there, our crime reduction unit were there from 3 different districts. Intelligence was there. And I remember them asking me where Judy was. She was home. She didn't go to work that day. My youngest son and my youngest daughter were also home with her. They sent 2 cruisers to pick her up, bring her back to the crime scene. And I remember telling Judy I was sorry. Never told her that Darlene was gone. I remember telling her that I was sorry. And she knew. We all knew at that point. That was the worst day of my life. And I can still remember the scene to this day. 3 years after that day, on April 11th, 2023, we started the trial of the person who killed my daughter.
And it was her boyfriend at the time, correct?
Ex-boyfriend.
Ex-boyfriend. Yeah.
He was found in North Carolina with his mother, hiding. He was subsequently brought back to Houston, released on bond, and for 3 years, he walked this earth like there was nothing wrong.
That's so wrong.
April 11th, 2023, his trial started, and on his birthday, April 24th, he was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to 40 years. And that's where he is now. Yeah, I've had a few things happen to me over the last several years. Losing a child. No parent expects to bury their child. And I did. Yeah. I was running from a lot of things. Not just that, but just before that, August 7th, 2017, I lost my dad. July of 2018 was my divorce. April 30th, 2020 was my daughter's death. So at the September 15th, I was running from a lot of things. And
that's on top of the stress of the job.
let's not even talk about the job. Yeah. This job brings a lot of trauma. But the hardest thing is trauma, but bringing the personal life into the business life. It's hard. That's why we have to take care of ourselves up here. This is the most important thing. Your mindset. If you lose your mindset, you lose your soul. You got to keep this to keep you. And that's why I am in the behavioral health training unit. For the last 4 years, I've been teaching about mental health. Mm-hmm. As a member of the peer support group and the hostage negotiation team, I talk to employees as well as anybody who needs someone to listen. And my experiences in life and on the job, to me, gives me a different perspective. I've seen the negative things in life and how this job can really bring you down. It can really leave you in a bad place. But I also know that this job can also bring the good out of you if you allow yourself the opportunity to get help. And that's what this is all about.